Hello and welcome back to BIMvoice. Today I have the pleasure to talk with Scott Chatterton, who is the BIM Solutions Director at BIM1. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm very good, thank you.
It's so nice to have you here. Please tell us a few words about yourself.
Sure, you bet. Thank you once again. So as you mentioned, my name is Scott Chatterton. I'm a BIM Solutions Director for a company called BIM1. We're a Canadian company. BIM1 is actually based out of Quebec, but I'm located in Western Canada in British Columbia. And our service is essentially providing companies across North America support in the transition to BIM, but also project support. So we engage a lot with key projects or large projects or even small projects and helping construction companies, design teams, even owners utilize, adopt, take advantage of the benefits of BIM on their projects.
So this is more like a consulting service, it's not a software. You don't provide a software solution.
Right, correct. So we're the consulting branch of BIM1. There is a software branch, which it's kind of like a sister company, and that's called BIMtrack, which is a platform used for collaboration in tracking changes in the model. So coordination is a real key aspect of that.
Yes, I know about BIMtrack. I know it's a really interesting startup and an important issue right there, trying to help with the collaboration, right?
So aside from my work with BIM1, I'm also a member of the board of directors for Building Transformations, previously known as CanBIM, which is a not-for-profit organization. It's been around for a number of years now, and we just support the growth and development of BIM in Canada and now in North America.
That's very interesting. What did you do before this?
Yeah, so before I joined BIM1, I've worked for a number of architectural firms. The last firm I worked for was a large multinational, multidiscipline firm, and I was a digital practice lead. So we talked about, or we helped lead the company in digital practice, moving forward, utilizing digital tools, developing process, quality control, workflows. And also I supported our international organizations in the adoption of BIM as well, which was really interesting. And then through that, I got more involved with the other disciplines. Just saw, through working mostly with architecture, the real growth and development of the integration between the other disciplines now. And really BIM demands that, right? It really demands the collaboration between all aspects of the project, all of the stakeholders. So I started to get more involved with the other disciplines, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and civil, and just looking at ways to integrate those more effectively and efficiently together. I certainly learned a lot from working with the engineering department. That was really good experience for me, just because most of my career has been architecturally focused. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Okay, so you are an architect, actually.
No, I'm not an architect.
But you worked with architecture more.
Yeah, I worked a lot with architecture. My career, I started out as a technologist and, in the early days became a CAD manager, learned BIM, learned Revit at the time, and just really saw the advantages of using a parametric modeling system, coming from AutoCAD, even AutoCAD architecture-based platform. And just really saw the advantages of it. Thought, this is going to transform the world in 3 years. That was, early 2000s, and have kind of been an evangelist for BIM ever since. So
yeah, that's so great to hear. I really like a lot getting in contact with people that are passionate about the same things. And even if it took around 20 years, you still did not give up. You are still hoping for something to happen. Yeah. So that's very good. We need that. Yeah. If we go back, how important would you say that is collaboration in BIM or let's say in our industry?
Yeah, very much so. And it's becoming more and more important as projects become more complex, but also as society demands more from our built environment. And what I mean by that is, in North America here, we've got the luxury of lots of space, lots of resources, and frankly, lots of money to spend on projects. We're realizing that that's not an endless pit. We're realizing now that we have to be more sustainable in our management of our space and our infrastructure. We need to be far more cost effective and far more efficient in the uses of our materials and the sustainability of our projects. And the only way that we can do that is to design and construct more efficiently. The only way we can control waste management, really research the materials that we're putting into our building, design efficient buildings. We can only do that using BIM, and really we can only utilize BIM when we work together and work collaboratively and bring all of the data and information together. And that has been a slow process in North America. We're starting to see more and more of it now, mainly because, frankly, I think a lot of the project teams have been losing money on projects. So they're starting to do that more, and society is demanding it, right? We need to step up our game. We don't have a mandate in North America. Unlike most European countries, there is nothing really pushing us to do this in the industry. So the only factors that have been pushing it, initially it was the architects, the design teams, because they saw the benefits of doing parametric modeling instead of drafting with AutoCAD. So they adopted it. They still had reluctance to share their models with the consultants. And then the contractors.
Sorry for interrupting. It's still difficult to share the models, even if you have, or you don't have this requirement from the client.
Yeah, it's still a mixed bag. Like when I talked about when we first adopted BIM, and there was a lot of reluctance to share models, just like there was reluctance to share their AutoCAD. That was a number of years ago. I think people realize now that they have to do it. All of the large firms here, BIM is mandated within their organization. So there's very few firms that are still CAD-based, and they certainly promote the use of BIM. What we find, though, is the selection of the design team is not typically based on their collaboration ability. So you could find yourself on a project where, the architect, the structural engineer, and, the civil are in 3D, and maybe the mechanical is still using AutoCAD. So it really impedes the progress of a project. And a lot of that has to do with the owners, the clients, not fully understanding BIM, and them just looking at the bottom line figure going, well, this consultant's cheaper. This consultant over here says, yeah, he'll do BIM, but it's going to cost a premium. So either way, I'll get the job done and just do it cheap.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. And we're starting to see more owners realize the benefits of BIM, but they're still learning. So I'll give you an example of that. There's large national organizations, say grocery store chain, large government departments that are starting to now slowly develop their BIM protocol or their BIM mandates and their BIM requirements for their projects. But there's no formal, I think we're developing it, working with Canadian standards and some other organizations around slowly developing. And we have some provincial requirements, so some school districts now have a requirement. Some healthcare authorities have a BIM mandate or a BIM requirement. But even then, we still need to educate a lot of the owners.
Yeah, you hit the nail right in the head right there. If I learned something after this soon 2 years, since I do this podcast, this has been the most prevalent issue, the lack of understanding from the part of clients. But now, because you are working with this, right? Could you say that you work mostly with clients?
It's still a mix. We're still doing, the transition to BIM for a lot of small to medium-sized firms that need support and direction in how to do it efficiently and effectively. And on the flip side of that, we're working with some large, major multi-billion-dollar infrastructure projects, just helping to coordinate and manage a very large, complex project, which we've got people across the company that has skills and expertise in delivering large projects, all from civil to mechanical, electrical, and architectural.
And how many more details can you give me about this? What is your approach? Like when you take on a client on a project, like you help them establish a strategy that they will use for this project, what requirements they should have, or what softwares, what more can you tell me about this?
Yeah, so it varies. Typically the large key infrastructure projects, we're dealing with large national, multinational organizations, so large architectural firms and structural, mechanical, and contractors. And they typically have an understanding of BIM. They usually have a BIM mandate. So our role there is typically they're under-resourced. So we can come in as experts and bring everybody together. And as independent consultants, we're impartial to each of the project team members. So really we work on behalf of the client. And frankly, for the benefit of the project as a whole. So that's what we do on the larger projects. On smaller scale, we can work with the owner or the client. So say, for example, somebody's doing a multi-residential high-rise building downtown Vancouver. We can work with the developer or the owner and firstly figure out what their BIM needs are, what their BIM requirements are, right? Explore what their BIM use is. Do they want to use it for facilities maintenance and management? Do they want to use it for marketing and utilize the visualization? How efficient, what sustainability aspects are they looking at for the building? Are they looking at building performance analysis and utilizing that to reduce the mechanical demands on the project? Okay. So that's really where we're working towards. Dealing with a lot of clients nowadays, passive home is certainly taking a big leap forward, and people have a great interest in that. Before it was lead and that aspects, and we still do, 90% of the projects around in North America, or maybe not 90%, but a great deal of them are lead projects. Sustainability is certainly top of mind for a number of people.
That's very good to hear. Are you using, to any degree, ISO 9650 as a guideline?
Yeah, good question. So lots of discussion in North America around ISO 19650, and I think and I'm being presumptuous here, and these are my opinions, but I think what we will end up with our mandate and our BIM guide or BIM resources will be based on ISO 19650. But I think we need to go maybe in a little bit more depth and a little bit more specific to what we need, maybe according to each region or according to each client. And the client could be like a housing corporation, something like that.
No, that makes sense. I think this is the point of ISO 9650, not to be a rigid standard, but to be used as a framework that you can use as a starting point to develop whatever you need, right?
Yep, and it's good that it's established and that it's being utilized elsewhere. We're certainly looking at the UK, we're looking at Europe and Australia and Asia and the Middle East around what's happening there around BIM. And, North America, we have to start developing and evolving these so we can take advantage of it further.
Do you feel that the development is a bit quicker in Europe and the other places you mentioned?
Yeah, good question. If you asked me that probably 10 years ago, I would have said no, but now, seeing what's happening in Europe and in other parts of the world, I feel that North America may be slipping behind, but we've still got time to catch up. We've certainly got the expertise, we've got the desire, and we've got the knowledge. We just need to initiate it and drive it forward. And I think organizations like CanBIM, the work we're doing across the country and helping to support it, and it's certainly a big initiative that's top of our mind as well.
What about Building Smart? Does Building Smart has a presence in Canada?
It does. Yeah, Building Smart has a presence here. Honestly, I'm not sure how big of an organization they are across Canada. Or, CanBIM, we're more of we do lots of regional sessions. We do lots of webinars. We do lots of information and informative sessions for our membership. Got a number of, we call them think tanks, which are member-driven initiatives to help move aspects of the industry. So, for example, we got, construction, technology incubator, owner rep, those types of think tanks that tackle initiatives and provide resources for our members.
Mm-hmm. You said that 10 years ago, maybe you did not feel this, and now you feel that difference is happening. Could Building Smart be the reason for that? Because it's been around, I don't know, but I remember personally about Building Smart since around 2015 or something like that. And they did a quite good job, I would say. They pushed really well the open standards, and now people are more prone to use these open standards. And this is my feeling from the ground here in Norway regarding IFC and so on. Like, people have started to realize the value in this, and they don't see like the old way is not working anymore. We have embraced that.
I think Building Smart has been successful in Europe because of the IFC push, and that's great, right? There's certainly a distinct difference between building transformations and building smart. Around that, they're focused around the platforms and the standards and the resources. Building transformations, we're more around membership and supporting our membership and providing them with information and resources and being the voice of BIM for Canada. The other issue there is IFC in Europe is very popular, right? It's utilized far more than we are in North America. And because you have quite a variety of BIM platforms, you don't have one main dominant BIM platform.
I'm not really sure that's the case, because Revit is still the most popular here as well. Although we
Is
have
it?
other, yes. Even if we have local solutions by Nemetschek or ArchiCAD, there are companies using this, but no, Autodesk still has by a big margin the most of the clients. But you said, maybe I misinterpreted, the question was not really right, and not building smart, but actually through their openBIM mandate and the main and foremost IFC, like you said. Maybe this, because we really embraced IFC, even though we still have a long way to go, but people don't challenge this as a viable option, right? So maybe this has made a change, although very often I have guests and we talk about the negative parts of IFC and that there always could be a better solution or something else. But the
Yeah.
real truth is that this is working. You like it or not, it's working, and more people are embracing it, right? And
Yeah.
maybe if they see value in that, maybe that could be the case for other people as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. There are possibilities for IFC to improve. There's always room for improvement around IFC. In North America, IFC is rarely used, right? We're not IFC based. We are so dominated by the market through Autodesk that there's no real need for an industry foundation class platform, right? If share it in Revit or, what platform are you using? And I think that to a certain degree has been, I don't want to say a hindrance, but it's maybe been a minor handicap for us in full sharing of data and information, which IFC really allows for and promotes. So we need to kind of change our focus around that here. Data is certainly becoming king, and we're looking at ways to manage, collect, inform, and utilize data based on the platforms that we have and the platforms that we're using. So IFC is, you talk to people in North America around IFC and they go, no, don't use it, never use it, don't use it. So yeah, and maybe that's due to lack of competition in North America for BIM platforms.
Yeah, I will go back to one of the topics we brought on several times during our conversation, and that would be lack of education for customers, because customers, clients are those who decide. Like in Norway, we don't have a BIM mandate. You mentioned a few times BIM mandate. You mean by that a law? Like the state has a law that you should do this regarding BIM, or you just mean an initiative taken by different organizations? What do you mean by BIM mandate?
A BIM mandate can be in two forms. It could be a requirement, a national requirement for projects, or it could even just be a national industry guideline. Right? We don't have any resources right now where an owner can go to and say, hey, what's happening across the country in regards to BIM? If I do BIM in Vancouver, is it going to be the same format or the same deliverable in Toronto? So we don't have any national standards. We're still looking at different data formats. We're still looking at, collaboration platforms or collaboration needs. Mm-hmm. So, we use a lot of what's been developed in the States around BIM uses, the BIM guides, and the great work that Penn State has done. We're looking at the mandate in the UK, and then ISO 19650 is starting to help educate people and become a resource as well. Yeah. So when we talk about mandate, really, we're talking about all aspects of it.
Okay. Because I thought more like a law or like a push from government or something like that, because we don't have something like that in Norway. I'm very happy with the development and how the things are evolving right here. But maybe this has something to do with the fact that it's not a very big country and people are more willing to work together and to work on the same goals and not spread too thin over more goals, let's say. And what's happening here, like I said, we don't have a governmental mandate, but the big clients, the big state clients, like for buildings, railroad administration, road administration, and so on, all these companies, they are working together. They have a common goal. They are cooperating and collaborating to come up with very, very good and clear requirements. And at the same time, they try to help everyone involved in the process to get them on that level. They don't just say, deliver me the best possible detailed model or something like that. No, they try to understand why they need that level of detail, right? And to have a good collaboration with the contractor and with everyone else involved. And this is what I see. Like, I've been working for the railroad administration for the last 3.5 years. And this is something that I think that functioned very well, is that they are always trying to come up with very good requirements, very advanced from this point of view, and always promoting openBIM. Although we are using most of the platforms from Autodesk and so on, when they specify in their requirements, they ask for IFC or open formats, something that doesn't bind you to a specific platform or something, right?
Yeah.
So this is very smart, and not only them are doing this, but all the other agencies, right? And I think this is very smart. Like in the UK, you have it like I don't know if it's a law, but it's a governmental mandate, right?
Yeah.
And although there is a mixed sentiment about that, right? Because nobody will just comply once you hit the road, right? It will take time, but at least people have their eyes set on something, on a goal, right? But I think I'm very lucky to be here in Scandinavia, because this is what in general the Scandinavian countries are doing, and they also cooperate between them, like a Scandinavian strategy, right? And they work together, they have the same goals, and I'm really grateful for that, to be in the middle of this and see maybe one of the most accelerated developments of adoption of BIM.
And there's probably a number of different factors that have encouraged that. It's certainly cultural, it's environmental, in North America, and even the same applies for Australia. We've got, relatively small population, right? We're in the low to mid 30 million, but we've got a huge land mass. So our population is really spread out across the country. So it can be challenging as a nation to come together and agree on BIM deliverables. So we're doing it in isolated pockets and then coming together and talking about them. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring everyone together and develop a series of guidelines or education to help bring everyone together. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, right, the demands for it have changed and evolved as well. And we've seen that through other countries as well. In Africa, the growing involvement of BIM there, the rapid involvement of BIM standards in Australia, which is good, and certainly in Singapore and the Middle East. So yeah, as well as all the countries in Europe that have really got on board. But it's interesting, you've got influences from other countries that are more direct and impactful, whereas in North America we've got Canada and America and South America, and we're also spread out. Sometimes it can be tough to collaborate on stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to mention that you think we did not touch during our conversation?
No, I think it's good. I think, just the need for collaboration, the education of owners, the collaboration involvement of all aspects of a project. So from trades, suppliers, all the way up through owners, that would probably be a good item to touch on.
I remember right now one last thing that I would like to mention regarding clients and requirements and everything else. Like here in Norway, I started to see a real change when actually these big companies I'm talking about have started to hire and develop their own BIM teams. Until then, very slow change. But since they started to have people that are working only with BIM on the projects, I've seen it with my own eyes, how quick it's spread out. And now what is happening, these teams are becoming just bigger and bigger. So I think the very, very important challenge and big challenge is to make clients understand the need for this kind of skills in their own companies.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. The need and the benefits of those skills and the benefits of BIM. And yeah, that's a really good point. And what you find there is somebody took the initiative, one organization took the initiative, and it's just spread out from there, right? And then people leave the company, take those skills with them somewhere else, and develop and foster them in other companies, as well as the trickle-down effect of, when you're working on a full collaborative BIM project, everybody gets touched with it, right? The contractors, the suppliers, the tradespeople, and they all gain a little bit of knowledge around BIM. Maybe they develop some resources specific to that project that they can use on other projects. So it kind of infiltrates down across there. And we've been educating and onboarding trades and suppliers around the use of BIM so they can start taking advantage of the data and information that's been developed around BIM. So we've got some rock stars in the industry that are really pushing the envelope, and we've still got some laggers that are still, asking what BIM is.
The same is valid here as well. And as you said, like not all the companies start at the same time, like here as well. Not all these companies I'm talking about started at the same time. There have been ones of them earlier adopters. They invested a lot of time and money. And after that, the most of them actually have been laggards. But after starting to see the benefits from this, it just spread, and they just wanted to talk more about with the other companies, and they started to see the value. And after that, they start to cooperate and work together and develop further, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to see. We're on the right track. I think, BIM is still evolving, and the industry is evolving, and we're always catching up to the needs of society, the needs of project delivery. So I don't think we'll ever get to that point where we've caught up and we're happy with how things are done. We think we'll always be evolving and developing. We've got a long way to go in North America because as an industry, we are probably one of the least progressive and least technological industries, but there's certainly a lot of applications, software, and desire to move that needle and move it forward. So it's just going to take time. It's going to take lots of people talking on podcasts about it and and education around the benefits and utilization of BIM.
Yeah, like you said, not only in North America, the AEC is the least digitized industry. It's here is the same. And not only that, I was mentioning these good customers or good examples, right? But there are still clients that they see this, or maybe they are not aware about how these companies are employing BIM, but they are still lagging behind. They still did not get to understand the value in that. I know it takes time, of course. I have only one concern. I hope our planet will allow us that time until we catch up with everything and become more efficient and more sustainable. This is my only hope.
Yeah, I agree. And we're running out of time on that. So we need to push that agenda forward. And actually on that note, I think it's incumbent upon a lot of design firms, a lot of architects as the owner's representative to inform and educate their clients around the benefits of BIM. You know, a lot of them, they may use BIM as their standard design platform, but when the client comes to them, they don't know. They don't know what services can be provided and what value-added benefits there can be in the utilization of BIM. So I think we really need the architects, and I'm asking the architects to inform their clients and say, you know, either for a little bit more money, we can do sustainability studies, analysis, or have you considered, operations and maintenance utilizing BIM for these benefits, downstream benefits? I think they've got a duty and a responsibility to help and inform their clients and educate their clients, as opposed to, here's the design, we've done our design process, we've done our scope of the work, thank you very much.
Yeah, I agree. That's the first touch where clients can learn more about this, actually, right? With the consultants they are employing to help them on the project. So it's vital, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, Scott. It was very nice to talk to you. And I'm looking forward
likewise
to talk to you again.
Right on. Great. Thank you very much. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you for joining me.